The Eagles got a big win going to 7-1 on the road against the Washington Commanders, and we've got 5 plays to break down, including what should be the catch of the year so far in the entire NFL. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but let's start with play number 5, and that is a defensive stop. It happens on 3rd down. Darius Slay getting into the catch point and forcing this ball on the ground against second-year wide receiver Jahan Dotson on the shallow cross. Now, what stands out to me about this play is that you actually have to rewind a couple series beforehand. The Washington Commanders, they motion into a late bunch where you see 3 receivers all stacked in this little triangle here on the right side of the formation. And look at the Eagles. They're playing man-to-man coverage, and you've got Kevin Byard up on the point man on the bunch. That's Logan Thomas. Then you've got Darius Slay manned up on the outside receiver with Eli Ricks manned up on the inside receiver. But this is what makes bunch formation so difficult to go up against, especially against man-to-man coverage, because when you have routes that crisscross, you've got the ability to create natural interference for the defense. Darius Slay, he has a lot of trouble trying to work around Ricks to try and make sure he can intersect the catch point here for Jahan Dotson. It's 3rd and 6, and Sam Howell is able to hit Dotson for a 9-yard completion and a first down. This was on a touchdown drive in the 3rd quarter. But fast forward to a little bit later in the game. Once again, it's 3rd down. It's 3rd and 5 here on this play. Once again, you've got the late motion into a bunch set. You see those 3 receivers all stacked right next to each other, creating that little triangle. Again, you've got 3 defenders for the Eagles lined up over that bunch. This time, it's Zach Cunningham with the point man. You've got Darius Slay on the outside receiver, that's Dotson, and you've got Ricks on the inside receiver. But notice the one subtle difference here. Remember that Darius Slay before had trouble playing over the top of Eli Ricks. Well, look at where Ricks is aligned here on this play. He's a couple yards stacked behind Darius Slay. So now, these guys being in a line staggered this way, there's not going to be that natural rub. There's not going to be that natural interference. So, as the ball is snapped, you're going to see that these guys are able to cleanly play these routes off, and now Slay is able to break on this throw and help force an incompletion at the down marker, and after a review, it was conclusive that the Eagles were able to force an incompletion. The next play, Haason Reddick gets a sack. We'll talk about that one a little bit later, but I love the adjustment there from the Eagles' back 7 and being able to handle these bunch sets from the Washington Commanders that had given him some trouble throughout the course of the afternoon, so good job there for the Eagles on the back 7. Now, let's get to play number 4. We're going to go to this completion to A.J. Brown. This is a 16-yard catch on 2nd and 14, and this was the record setter. This is what put A.J. Brown past that threshold of 125 yards in 6 straight weeks. Became the first receiver in NFL history to hit that mark. Just an outstanding stretch here for A.J. Brown. This is the play that made it happen. Now, first and foremost, you see the Eagles right now are in an empty set. That means that Jalen Hurts is in the backfield all by himself. There's nobody back there with him. The Eagles run this as much as anybody in the NFL. They're actually the 2nd highest in the NFL in terms of empty sets. Only one team, the Miami Dolphins, has run more empty this year than the Philadelphia Eagles. And what I love most about empty is that it is what I like to call truth serum for a defense, because ultimately, in an empty set, typically the ball's going to come out fast. So you don't have time, if you're a defense, to disguise your looks and try and fool the opposing team. You have got to line up and play the way you're going to play from a coverage standpoint. So, depending on how these receivers are distributed across the width of the field, that can give you some quality information. Look at the right side of the field here for Jalen Hurts. You've got A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert on one side. Then you go to the 3 receiver side. You've got a couple of receivers there in the slot with Olamide Zaccheaus at number 3, Devontae Smith at number 2, and then you've got DeAndre Swift as the number 1 receiver. Look across the line from DeAndre Swift, and you've got a cornerback. Look across the field from Olamide Zaccheaus and from Dallas Goedert. You've got a couple of linebackers. This immediately should send alarm bells off in Jalen Hurts' head that this is going to be zone coverage, some kind of zone, because you wouldn't want man-to-man against Dallas Goedert and against Olamide Zaccheaus with a linebacker, and you wouldn't want to waste a corner one-on-one against a running back in space, right? You'd want to be able to play some kind of man coverage and switch those responsibilities around. So right off the bat, before the snap, Jalen Hurts has an idea. This is going to be zone coverage. And based off the alignment of these 2 safeties and how Washington has played throughout the course of the day, what they've put on film leading up to this point, he has an idea, you know what? This is going to be cover 2. And in cover 2, you're going to get both deep safeties splitting the field in half. So these two guys deep downfield, they're going to split the field in half, and you've got 5 underneath defenders. And those 5 underneath defenders, the most important one to keep an eye on is that middle linebacker, that defender right between the hashes here. That's David Mayo here for Washington. And one of the reasons why it's so important in an empty set, when you've got an uneven formation, typically what you're going to see the middle linebacker do is at the snap of the ball, he is going to open his hips up to the passing strength, to the 3 receiver side. So you can see here, that's exactly what David Mayo does. You've got 3 receivers over to the defensive right. That's the way he's going to open. So for Jalen Hurts, that makes the read easy. I now have to start over to my right side. Let's now bring it back to a little bit before the snap. And you can see as Jalen Hurts starts checking and surveying the defense, he's getting an idea of what he's seeing. He takes one little peek here over at this corner across from A.J. Brown. Benjamin St-Juste is about 5-6 yards off the ball. He's playing off coverage. So with this 2-man route concept that the Eagles are running here, you've got Dallas Goedert running a little sit route and then sitting back outside, and then you've got A.J. Brown working the middle of the field on an in-breaker. If this corner is going to stay in off coverage, that probably makes this route a little bit easier to hit, this Dallas Goedert out route for Jalen Hurts. So as the pre-snap phase progresses, you're going to see cornerback Benjamin St-Juste slowly sneak up towards the line. He actually disguises this coverage really well, and this is going to cause one big change for Jalen Hurts, because when he drops back, and again, he's going to look to his right, because the middle linebacker, he's opening up the other way. He wants to work this 2-receiver side. Jalen takes that peek to that right side, and he sees the corner disrupting A.J. Brown's route. So that immediately tells Jalen, you know what? There's this corner, he's not going to be playing soft coverage. He's probably going to be sitting right in the flat as that cover 2 corner. That's going to take away this route from Dallas Goedert. I have to throw the ball to A.J. Brown. So now Jalen Hurts has to throw off of this defender. He needs A.J. Brown to clear that defender behind him into this window, and then he's going to put the ball on him for a first down. One last thing I really like here, look at A.J. Brown. He understands, you know what, there's a middle linebacker patrolling the middle of the field. He's got the ability to really lay a hit on me. Watch A.J. subtly reduce this route. He's going to bring this back towards the line of scrimmage just a touch to make sure he doesn't take a hit here. He only creates a couple of yards after the catch off of that, but he avoids the big hit from the middle linebacker. Jalen Hurts hits him for a completion, and the Eagles get a first down. They go on to score a touchdown. A couple plays later, Devontae Smith reaches the end zone. A lot to love there from that 16-yard completion out of an empty set from Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. Now, on the ensuing defensive possession after the Devontae Smith touchdown, that's where Reed Blankenship comes up with his interception. That gets the Eagles the ball deep in Washington territory, and early on, you're going to see Jalen Hurts hook up with Julio Jones for his first touchdown as an Eagle. And here's what I like about this play. It's a really well-executed concept from the Eagles, because what you're going to see first is A.J. Brown come in short motion, tight to the formation. You see the communication there on the back end from Washington DBs. Right off the bat, you've got 2 big body potential blockers in the run game for the Eagles, and Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown. Now, Washington is playing what is called quarters coverage, where you've got 4 defensive backs splitting the deep part of the field. And obviously in the red zone, that's not a lot of ground to work with, right? There's not a lot of grass there. But in quarters, in cover 4, these safeties are all going to have primary run fits. They have got the ability to play both the run and the pass. So they've got to be very sound with their eyes early on in the play. Now, what you're going to get from the Eagles at the snap of the football is a play-action fake between Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift. You could see the run fake here and watch the reaction of the safeties. You've got the near safety on the boundary. He stands perfectly still. He's waiting because he knows he's got 2 primary pass targets here on his side of the field as well. The safety to the field side, he bites hard because he understands that DeAndre Swift has the ability to insert into this A gap. He does not want to make sure that he hangs out his defense out to dry. He is going to sell really hard down on this run fake. Julio Jones, he looks like he's about to go and block the safety. Look at his body language off the ball. He looks like he's going to go block that safety, and the corner to that side, he has to be ready to replace the safety in the run fit. So they're really messing here, the Eagles, with this play action fake with the eyes of several members of the Washington back 7. As we know, though, this is not going to be a run play. This is going to be a play action pass. After selling that initial crack block, Julio Jones is going to put his foot in the ground and work up the seam towards the post. And that's where Jalen Hurts hits him for a touchdown. This is the go-ahead touchdown. It's the first time the Eagles take the lead in this football game. We're going to take a look at it from the end zone, and I want to talk about what I love most about this ball from Jalen, because this is a perfect ball in the red zone. Again, you have two safeties over there for Washington. One of them came up hard in the run game, so Jalen Hurts has to throw over top of that safety. But then, again, keep an eye on the boundary side. That safety is still there in the middle of the field. If Jalen Hurts leads Julio Jones too far out in front, that's where this safety can go and make a play on the football. So Jalen has to really choke this throw up, throw this a little bit inside, and now Julio Jones has to make a play on it. He's going to be one-on-one with the corner. He knows that corner's on his back hip. Julio Jones makes an outstanding catch on the inside shoulder while understanding, you know what, I'm probably going to take a big hit from that safety opposite, and that's exactly what he does. He takes a huge hit, holds on to the football, and he makes his first touchdown catch as an Eagle. Everybody's excited. Great ball from Jalen Hurts, high and inside, exactly where that needed to be in the back of the end zone, and the Eagles take the lead for good in this football game. Now, let's move on to play number 2, and that's Haason Reddick's sack fumble on 4th down late in the 4th quarter. Now, the Eagles are up ahead by a touchdown at this point in the game, and Reddick is going to win with what is called a Superman cross chop. He's lined up way outside the right tackle, and what you're going to see him do is he's going to come off the ball, and he's going to explode off that right foot, and watch him take flight, gain a ton of ground, and swipe down the hands of the right tackle with his inside arm, then use his outside arm to club through contact, and then violently rip through with that inside arm, all while gaining ground. He's got a small target to begin with, Haason Reddick, so the right tackle has to be perfect with his punch. He obviously is not on this play, and Reddick is able to get home for what he does best, a sack fumble. Gets the ball on the ground there from quarterback Sam Howell. Now, why did Sam Howell not step up on this play? Well, if you look on the other side of the Eagles' defensive line, you've got Fletcher Cox and Josh Sweat. They are running what is called an ET stunt. And why is it called an ET stunt? Well, it's because the end, or the E, he goes first as the pinner, and then the T, or the tackle, loops around. So what you've got essentially is Josh Sweat serving a nice healthy dish of blunt force trauma on the Washington offensive line. He's coming in with a head of steam off the edge, and he is going to bench press two members of the Washington offensive line right into the teeth of the pocket for Sam Howell. Howell has nowhere to step up with this football, and now he's a sitting duck for Haason Reddick to come through and make this play. It's a sack fumble that's created by the stunt on the opposite side, and then of course we know the coverage and the rush are always married together. So what were the Eagles doing on the back end here? Well, it's 4th down, and the Eagles have to take away Terry McLaurin. That's their number 1 receiver. Time and time again, Washington went in his direction. So what do? They have James Bradbury lined up over McLaurin in the slot. You've got the new safety, the newest Eagle, Kevin Byard. Those two guys are going to double team Terry McLaurin out of the slot. You've got man-to-man coverage across the board, and then you've got a single high safety there in Reed Blankenship. Again, Howell has nowhere to go with this football. He can't step up into the pocket because of Josh Sweat's rush, and you've got Reddick getting home for a sack fumble. Full team effort there results in a 4th down stop, and the Eagles go on to score another touchdown. DeAndre Swift, just a few plays later, runs it in on the fake brotherly shove. Outstanding sequence there for this Eagles team, which takes us to play number 1. I'm not going to lie, I double dipped here. It's the pair of A.J. Brown touchdown catches in this game. It was too hard to pick one. I didn't want to leave either one of them off the list, so we're going to cover both of them here with number 1, because this first one is one of the catches of the year in the NFL. And here's what I love. Do you remember a couple weeks ago against the New York Jets when DeAndre Swift caught that touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts in the red zone, and we said, you know what? This is a great way to exploit the box call coverage call in zone coverage, where you've got one route running across the field, you've got another route running vertically, and then you've got DeAndre Swift running a little option route, a little Texas route against a linebacker one-on-one. He splits the defense, and he gets home for a touchdown. Well, that's exactly what the Eagles are running here on this play. You could see DeAndre Swift lined up in the backfield. You've got Devontae Smith running the shallow cross. You've got Dallas Goedert working up the field, working vertically. They're going to stretch that if it is a zone coverage call. But is this zone coverage? Let's look at this pre-snap. Outside, all the way out to the far left, you've got A.J. Brown. He looks like he's on an island here against the outside corner. There's no one there to help this cornerback. This corner's lined up over Olamide Zaccheaus. He is unlikely to help against A.J. Brown. The safety, he's lined up purely in the post, right smack between the hashes. He is not going to help against A.J. Brown. So that tells Jalen Hurts, you know what? I don't really need this concept over here to the other side. This is probably not zone coverage. And even if it is, it's still going to be ultimately a one-on-one with A.J. Brown against a corner. I'm going to take my chances with A.J. here on this play. So after the snap of the ball, Jalen Hurts catches it. He drops back. His eyes go immediately to A.J. Brown. And as A.J. gets off the ball, read the leverage of the defensive back. He's playing high and inside off A.J. He's playing to his help. Because he's got no help this corner, his only help is the sideline. So he has to force A.J. Brown to the outside. So Jalen Hurts knows this. He's going to throw this basically to the pylon over the shoulder for A.J. Brown to go up and get. A.J. turns and finds the football. This ball is thrown where only A.J. Brown can get it, and A.J. makes one of the most spectacular catches you are going to see in the NFL this year. One hand, both feet, both knees, inbounds. Ridiculous catch from A.J. against a talented corner in Benjamin St-Juste, and that corner, there's nothing else he could do here in that situation. A.J. Brown makes an unbelievable catch. Great ball from Jalen Hurts. And let's fast forward to the next touchdown from A.J. Brown because it's a similar kind of ball in a similar area of the field. It's a little bit further away. We're about the 25-yard line here for Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, but it's a similar kind of ball. This time, though, it's a different coverage because you've got two high safeties. It's man-to-man again, but with those two safeties now, the corners can be much more aggressive. This is called two-man coverage. Happens to be one of my favorite coverages in football because you allow your defensive backs to be really aggressive with their coverage early in the down, and that's exactly what happens here on this play. Look at the corner this time. Look at the difference in the leverage. Instead of being high on top of A.J., he is now trailing behind A.J. Brown, knowing that he's got this safety help over the top. Now, Jalen Hurts also knows this, and look at the difference in Jalen Hurts with his eyes. Remember the last time? He was looking right at A.J. Brown. Here, he is looking more towards the middle of the field because he knows, hey, you know what? This is man-to-man coverage. I still want my A.J. Brown matchup, but I need to worry about this safety. I can't just throw this over the shoulder because now you've got that safety there over the top to potentially take it away. I have to do everything I can to hold my eyes in the middle of the field, keep that safety as close to the hash mark as I can to give A.J. Brown time to get down the field and win. Now, as soon as Jalen hits the top of his drop, he's going to just go let A.J. make a play. A.J. Brown is on top of the corner, Emmanuel Forbes at this point. The safety is held inside the numbers. Now it's up to A.J. Jalen throws this ball up. The corner is in pretty good position here. He's hip to hip. He's got eyes on the football. Remember, Forbes, he set the FBS record, most pick sixes in a college career. This is a guy who knows how to play the ball in the air. But A.J. Brown is not having it. This is a my ball mentality play from A.J. Brown. He goes up, takes the ball away from Emmanuel Forbes. Forbes looks at the ref like, man, like what else can I do in this situation? A.J. comes down with it. His second touchdown of the afternoon. A legendary day for A.J. Brown. A huge performance from Jalen Hurts. The Eagles win 38-31. Those were the 5 or 6 plays that helped determine the outcome. The Eagles moved to 7-1. We'll be breaking down more from this game and previewing next week's opponent, the Dallas Cowboys, on Eagles Game Plan, the Eagle Eye in the Sky. We've got plenty of X's and O's content getting you ready for Week 9 against Dallas. Make sure you stay subscribed and stay tuned right here to the Eagles YouTube page.